Baseball Hour with Tony Mazz. Me! Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moon Light, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMassMoney.com, and by Golf. On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
At one point, it felt like we were a playoff caliber team. We had it right there, and we blew it.
They're not going to do anything. Is it really going to be Aroldis Chapman and what are we doing here?
For the Red Sox, I never thought Soto was the greatest fit. What they need, it's an ace. You trade for Crochet.
Garrett Crochet is superb. Crochet is a top-level talent.
We got a legitimate number one starter in Garrett.
We're 2 months out from the season, and we're very optimistic about this group having the ability to win 90-plus games and win that division and get into the postseason.
Chapman stinks. They're going to hate that. Chapman stunk to Pittsburgh.
Breaking news coming down late Wednesday. Alex Bregman has signed a 3-year, $120 million deal with the Boston Red Sox.
John Henry, he got involved in this. He made it clear we want the player. John Henry got to a point where he was willing to write the check for Alex Bregman.
Rafi was here. He worked out early, and he took off.
How would you react if they asked you to DH?
No.
I'm super excited to just be his teammate. He's a great player. I'll play wherever AC tells me to play.
Now, the third base situation. Rafi wants to play third base. Bregman says he'll play anywhere.
It will work itself out. I mean, it's all really about what Alex thinks is best for the team, and then everyone will fall in line.
This year, do you think you guys will be in contention come the trade deadline?
I hope so.
Look, if I win the job, I win the job. If I don't win the job, I don't win the job. Fist bumping in the seventh, it's not as, it's kind of like this guy's a knob.
Tell you what, the Woo Sox are going to be loaded. The AAA team in Worcester is going to 8.5 runs a game. Those top three, Anthony, Campbell, and Meyer, this is murderer's row of hitting prospects.
The thing about Rafi, he wants to win.
Right.
And I think, that first game in Texas will do whatever is good for the Boston Red Sox, and they're all on board, and there's a lot of conversations, and let's see what happens.
Red Sox over D-backs in 6. That's my pick.
All right, so here we go. 24 hours from now, the Red Sox will be in the midst, presumably, of their season opener against the Texas Rangers. Garrett Crochet, his first game in a Boston uniform against Nathan Eovaldi, former World Series hero, back in 2018. The season will be underway, and the game will probably end right while we are on the air here on the Baseball Hour. Back for another season, and I will say, hopefully, a much more competitive one than the ones we've gotten from the Red Sox in the last 3 years. 617-779-0985 is the number. We'll take your calls during this hour all season long, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. So long as the Red Sox play, we will continue to do a program, meaning if they are in the month of October, we will continue into October with them right up until the very end. And during this coming season, Jared Carabas of Underdog Sports, Underdog Fantasy, will join us on the Baseball Hour. He is not with us tonight because the schedule of opening day has required Jared to travel for his employer. But I assure you, he will be here during the course of the season. Matt McCarthy, kind enough to join us here tonight on what is our opening day. I will also tell you quickly that Jared Carabas will be presented by Blue Moon Light, a light and refreshing citrus wheat beer with only 95 calories, brewed with real tangerine peel for a subtle sweetness and a smooth finish. Just like the man they sponsor. Enjoy Blue Moon Light today. So, Matt, first of all, thank you for being here.
As always, Mazz, thrilled to be back. Thrilled the Baseball Hour is back, and I did something I haven't done in 5 years.
Which was what?
I have my calendar. I put Baseball Hour in every Friday night, 6 to 7. I have ended it on the final Friday of September for the last 5 years. I put the Red Sox in the Baseball Hour in through the end of October this year. It's good to be back.
So here is the question now as we enter this season, and it's going to be this, one that we haven't really been able to ask in a long time. How good is this team? How far can they go? Let's start there with the most basic, simple thing. And I don't know about all of you, but I can tell you that I hope this is not just a one-off. I'm tired of the up and down experience of the Red Sox going from the top floor to the basement over and over and over again. That schizophrenic existence or bipolar existence is just too hard to endure for fans, I think. And frankly, I hope that this is, look, what we all want is for the team to strive for consistency. And when I say consistency, I don't mean 81 and 81. I mean, there is no reason, no excuse for the Red Sox to be anything but a playoff participant and a championship contender pretty much every year. They have the resources to do it. I think the fan interest will be there if they give you the product that you are due and that you deserve. And finally, they appear to be heading toward a roster that can provide a competitive product day in and day out. So just listening to that montage that Jimmy Stewart put together here for we'll play it again at the end of the show because it has been an eventful offseason. Aroldis Chapman, the pursuit of Juan Soto, Garrett Crochet. You heard Craig Breslow. You heard Sam Kennedy. 90-plus wins, said the president of the Red Sox. Mad Dog doesn't like Chapman. Bregman joined the team. John Henry smoked his cigar. Rafael Devers said he wanted to play third base. Tom Werner hopes that they're in it at the trade deadline. Liam Hendricks, Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and Marcelo Meyer. And the last three guys on that list might be the most important when it comes to the long-term success of the Red Sox. They owe you a good season. They owe you a championship caliber product every single year. And finally, it appears that they're willing to put their money where their mouths are going forward again and in the future. And I say that, put their money where their mouths are. I would tell you that in a lot of ways, Matt McCarthy, I don't think the Red Sox did anything all that exceptional this offseason.
No, they did go back into the luxury tax, which they have not done in a few years. But in regards to a long-term financial commitment to anybody, they have not done that. And that's one of the stories coming out of the offseason is that we are 24 hours away from opening day, and Garrett Crochet still is not signed. That's his deadline. So you're going into a year without getting Crochet extended and going into a very dramatic offseason next year with that kind of lingering over this team. So you are spot on about that.
So you tell me, what is a realistic expectation?
This team should be a playoff team. Anything less than making the playoffs is a failure. I would say right now, if they don't make the playoffs, you need to consider significant changes. The manager should be one of those things. No doubt, Mazz, given the state of the American League and given the quality of the roster that they have built, this is a playoff team. That is the floor. That is the bare minimum. They're capable of winning the pennant. I think that more has to do with the quality of the American League compared to them, but they're a pretty good baseball team. They are, and any expectation less than that, to me, is missing the mark.
So now let me tell you what drives me bananas. And this is, if you listen to Jimmy's montage there that we played, and again, we'll get to your calls here in just a second. 617-779-0985. I see a few of you there already lined up. And it's your opportunity to express yourself on the Red Sox. Like, the topic of baseball in Boston is not what it used to be. And the Red Sox used to be a year-round talker, 24 hours a day, frankly, pretty close to it. Anything and everything they did was newsworthy. Utility infielder, firing the hitting coach, whatever it was news. That isn't true anymore. I don't know that it'll ever be like it was before. But I know it can be better than it's been the last 3 years. That much I know. And the stuff that drives me bananas is when people make them out to be better than they are. So in that montage that we played for you, you heard Jared Carrabis say at the end, he's picking the Red Sox to win the World Series over the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'll tell you, I now know how Jared got his job hosting the alternative broadcast. Okay? I expect nothing less from Jared. And I would say that if he were sitting right here. So, and look,
he should be defending his take tonight.
So look, and Jared's no fool. He knows, how his whole sort of shtick was originally created. And I think the world of Jared. But I will also tell you that I think he played it up. I don't know that he truly believes the Red Sox are a World Series team, but he's going to, everybody's going to make a prediction, it feels like, McCarthy, at the beginning of the year. So Jared's going to make the one that he wants to make in his heart, which is fine. So he picks the Red Sox to win the World Series. I don't think this is a World Series championship caliber team.
No.
I think the best teams in baseball are all in the National League. Yep. Whether that's the Dodgers, who are obvious, the Mets, who signed Soto, the Braves, who won it a couple years ago and still have one of the best young rosters in the game,
Phillies.
Or the Phillies. All those teams are better candidates than the Red Sox.
And they're all going to beat each other up in the National League, and the Red Sox are going to be in the World Series, and the Red Sox are going to pick the carcass of whatever's left from the National League and win in 5 games.
It ain't going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks, I'll tell you that, Jimmy.
So, Jimmy, you're right. Only one team can come out of the National League, just like only one team can come out of the AL. I will also tell you that 3 other teams, according to ESPN, are better candidates to win the American League than the Red Sox are. That, to me, is probably about right. In theory, the Red Sox could finish 3rd in their division and still make the playoffs, because I think that the Orioles are good. I still think the Yankees are worth keeping an eye on. Their bullpen's tremendous. They have the best player in the league, in Aaron Judge. And, the Red Sox certainly can make some noise. The other thing I'll tell you is this, and I say this every year. Preseason predictions about championship teams are often ridiculous. The Red Sox aren't there yet. We don't know what Walker Buehler's going to be. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be playing very well at the beginning of the year. In fact, the first couple of months are underrated in terms of importance, because that's when the contenders separate themselves from the pretenders. Then you put yourself in position to make an addition at the trading deadline, or multiple additions at the trading deadline. You fill some holes. Some kids come up from the minor leagues, and we know there are some that can actually help the Red Sox now this time around. And the team you are at the end of the year is not necessarily the team you are at the beginning of the year. So what you need is a good foundation to start. I think they have that. Do they have the pieces to trade or make deals at the deadline? Yes. Do they have the young guys that can come up from the minor leagues and help them? Yes. So, could they go someplace we don't expect? Sure. Are they there at the moment? No. But it should be a pretty good baseball season here in Boston. And that is something that you should expect on an annual basis. And a year like this, or spring like this, and an off season like this, often agitates me more for the things that have gone on over the past 3 years. There is no excuse for the Red Sox ever going into a year, coming off of last place, and then doing almost nothing in an off season. There's no excuse for it, and there never will be. The market deserves better, and frankly, the team should give you better because they're capable of it. So, I've gotten that all off my chest. The story of camp, without question, was the demotion of Rafael Devers from third base to the designated hitter position. It caused quite a stink. It feels like it's over. We'll get to that, Matt's thoughts, and we'll give you the opening day lineup when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
Baseball Hour on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
So I have the D-backs making it back to the World Series and unfortunately losing in 6 games to the Boston Red Sox. Yeah. I mean, it's the American League is just, it's just not, you got to go through 4 or 5 National League teams before you get to the best American League team when you're power ranking MLB teams. So, yeah, someone from the American League has to make it. I think that someone is going to be the Boston Red Sox. And then by the time they get there, they usually just don't lose. So I'm going to give the D-backs the respect of making it a 6-game series, which is, again, that would tie the longest World Series against the Red Sox. Usually we get it done in 4, gentlemen's sweep 5. That one time in St. Louis or against the Cardinals in 2013, that was 6. Didn't need to be. You know, you had that obstruction call. Shout out to Will Middlebrooks and Alan Craig. Didn't need to be 6 games. But, yeah, usually when the Red Sox get to the World Series, we get it done nice and quick for you. So I'm giving the D-backs respect. Red Sox over D-backs in 6. That's my pick.
Oh, Jared. See, again, that's the one that goes up my ass. They suck for 5 years, 6 years. They have one half-decent offseason, and all of a sudden we think they're all going to win the World. You know what? Here's what I want. I don't want them to win the World Series this year. Can I say that?
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised by that. Yeah.
Because you know what? It just gives them, like, license to take the next 5 years off. What, every 5th year you win a World Series? I want a World Series championship caliber team every year. Pretty damn close. And I understand that's not realistic. But can you give me a team that is, you know, a legit threat to make the playoffs every year? Because that's what it was basically for the first 10 years under this ownership. So, like, this whole idea of, okay, they just spent on one winter, they're going to win the World Series, and that solves all the problems. To me, it's like a fix. You know, it's like you got to get your fix. I want something more lasting than that, Matt. I want a relationship.
You know what? I don't blame you for that. You should feel that way. Consistency is something this organization has lacked for 5, 6 years now. I don't trust that the Red Sox are going to approach every offseason now with a level of urgency, because they did approach this offseason with some level of urgency. They improved this team. They actually sacrificed some of the long term for the short term, because they traded Kyle Teal for Garrett Crochet, and it doesn't feel like they want to extend Garrett Crochet at full market value. So they did that. They haven't done that in a long time, and you have to toe that line. You have to, you know, strike the balance there. The one thing that gives me a little bit more hope is that the model you just laid out when you said you didn't want the Red Sox to win the World Series, which again checks out. No surprise there. That is the Theo Epstein model. It's what he argued for. You know, in the Seth Mnookin book years ago, he wanted to be the Atlanta Braves, 95 wins every year, because it feels that, you know, he felt that would give you a better chance to win the World Series every year. Theo's back now, and he does, it feels to me, have some sway in the way the Red Sox have approached things, because they approach this offseason differently. If you want to have some hope, there's some hope, Mazz. Well,
and I'll tell you quickly, and we'll get to the phones right away. Again, 617-779-0985. I see a number you lined up. I'm going to come to you in 10 seconds. So sit right there, I promise. The most undertold story of the offseason for the Red Sox, Theo Epstein advised Craig Breslow on the signing of Alex Bregman.
Yes.
So he helped him structure the contract. So Theo was involved in the background there, maybe more than that than we know about. But I think Theo's got a hand in there somehow, some way. And unless somebody tells me otherwise, and someone that I believe, I am going to believe that Theo Epstein basically has his hand up the shirt of Craig Breslow and is moving his lips.
Good.
Okay, that's what I want to believe, because Theo Epstein's about the only guy who's, you know, year-to-year ability to put a contender on the field. He's about the only guy I trust right now. Jack is in Rhode Island. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, I hope Theo Epstein has his hand up his shirt of Craig Breslow, because he's a dork, and I'd rather have Theo Epstein running the team. Mazz, I hope that you're right. I'm sick and tired of having this team just win a World Series and then be garbage for 5 years in a row. I want to know what you think. I think the middle of our bullpen sucks, and I think that if we're going to make a deep run, we got to shore up the middle of that bullpen. Who do you think's going to be out of the mix I think that having these extra wild card teams make the trade deadline suck because no one's moving players anymore.
Yeah. So, Jack, listen, your point about the bullpen's a good one, and forgive me, I'm just trying to move along and get people, as many people on as we can here on the first night. Your point about the bullpen's good. You should have concerns about the bullpen. I'd have concerns about the bullpen if they were good. So I say this every year. I know you're tired of hearing it. Whitlock's a key guy. If Whitlock pitches well, the bullpen will be good. I think it's that simple. The closers, I think they kind of suck. I mean, Chapman to me blows. I'm sorry. I can't stand Aroldis Chapman. I've never liked him. I don't like closers who come into the game and walk people. I don't like pitchers who can't throw strikes. He doesn't. So I'll take a guy who throws 94 and can put it repeatedly in the strike zone versus a guy who can throw 100 and has no idea where it's going.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that, Mazz, but it's not the middle of the bullpen that's the concern. It's the back end of the bullpen. It's the closer. It's Chapman. It's Slayton, who has good stuff but has never done it before. It's Hendricks, who to me might be washed. You're totally right. If Whitlock is healthy and if Whitlock is 2021 Garrett Whitlock, the Red Sox are no doubt a playoff team and contending for the pennant. He is the most important guy out there. I'm just not counting on it. And my one concern would be, you mentioned, the Red Sox are in a position for guys to come up and help this year. You're half right about that. They're in position for Meyer and Anthony and hitters to come up and help them this year.
Positional players.
They don't have a pitcher who could come, and not that I see in the minor leagues, who could, come and be a seventh inning guy for you down the stretch. It's going to have to come from outside the organization.
Let's go to Andrew at Peabody. Andrew, what do you got?
I just think that the pitching staff is a little overrated right now. Garrett Crochet has never thrown over 150 innings, let alone 200 plus. He sucked in the second half of last year, let us not forget, despite the innings limitation. Buehler's probably a 3 or 4. We'll see what Houck can do this year. And your bullpen blows. You're 2, 3, 4 moves away still, so they'll be good. It'll be a fun year, but let's tone it down. Yeah,
so Andrew, I'm with you. And here is how I have categorized it, Matt, with regard to the pitching staff, is that Crochet's a stud, okay? The stuff is electric. I mean, he's throwing high 90s. He throws a crap ton of strikes. He had a game where he walked 3 guys in an inning in spring training, but it's
early on.
Yeah, it's generally been the outlier for him.
He's a stud.
So he's got a really live arm, but the caller's point about the inning total is real. So what I would tell you is the biggest concern with this Red Sox staff for me, at least the rotation, let me say it that way, is the durability of the starting pitching. So Crochet, again, has never gone past 146, and that's the only time he's ever even gotten 100.
Right.
He's been a reliever up until last year. Okay, so that's 1. Buehler has an injury history. That's 2. Houck got it late into the season last year and started to lose it because he had never pitched that many innings.
And he had a horrific spring.
Okay, so that's 3. Bayo's hurt already. That's 4.
Crawford's hurt.
5. Giolito's hurt. 6. Okay, so now some of these guys are going to come back. It sounds like Bayo and Giolito will be here sooner rather than later. But the durability of that rotation to me is what is most concerning.
They have some depth. They have more depth than they've had in years past, so I think they can withstand some of that over the course of a 162-game season to still be a playoff team. So they have addressed that. But you hit on the most important point. Garrett Crochet is the key guy. His stuff is filthy. It is nasty. It's electric. They haven't had a pitcher like him since Chris Sale at the height of Chris Sale. If he can post, if he can go 170, 180 innings this year, that's the ceiling. That's where we start talking about ceiling for the Red Sox. The floor is there because they have the depth to withstand some injuries, and you're seeing it right out of the gate. But the ceiling is Garrett Crochet. He represents what the Red Sox are truly capable of this year, Mazz.
And look, I don't need to tell you, Crochet's stuff is elite. We all know that. When you have a guy like that at the front end, and the Red Sox had a stretch in their history where they had, like, to me, was like a line of kings at the top of their rotation.
Clemens, Pedro.
Yeah, it basically went Clemens, Pedro, Schilling, Beckett, Lester, and during those years, they were championship caliber.
Price, Sale.
Right. For the most part, they were championship caliber. It was a great, again, I always refer to it as a line of kings because all those guys were Cy Young caliber pitchers. If you got a guy like that at the front, let's say he makes 32 starts, and you go in those games 22-10.
Yep. You're a playoff team.
You're 12 over, you're 87-75, and you're in. All you have to do is play .500 baseball the rest of the time, and you're a playoff team.
And they should be a little better than that because they've got a good lineup.
Pedro's 99 season, the Red Sox went 26-4, I think it was, in his 30 games. Okay? They were 22 over when he pitched. They were basically .500 the rest of the time. They went 92-70. So one guy like that can make a difference. Don't think he can't. He can. Because the rest of the time, all you got to do is be average. And as we know, last year, the Red Sox can be average. McCarthy's got your headlines. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue with your phone calls when we come back again on the opening day for the baseball hour here at 98.5.
It's more of the Baseball Hour with Tony Mazz on the Sports Hub.
Is it something where you think a conversation with Ortiz and him could help, or do you think it's not?
I don't need help for that. I'm the manager of the team. I'm going to talk to Rafi. We're going to keep working. And, like I said, we're going to make decisions based on, what we need to win the division. That's the most important thing. And me and Rafi, we have a great relationship. That's something that I made sure. I say, hey, man, this is the baseball side of it. We're still Rafi and Alex, I've been with this kid since November 2017. So, it's part of the business, and we will keep working. Like I said, decisions will be made based on roster construction. That's the reality of it, and we'll keep talking.
That was Alex Cora during spring training when he was asked whether or not it might be a good idea to summon David Ortiz to speak with Rafael Devers, calm him down about being the DH. You see, Cora took exception to it, which, again, I actually kind of like, because it tells me that Cora's got the ass a little bit. Like, he didn't like the question, and I think he's more focused and tuned in for this season than he's been in a while.
Kind of a big year for Alex Cora.
I would agree, Jimmy. Yeah, I would agree. He's got a team now, right? He's got a team now. So there's going to be more scrutiny of him. But I honestly think Cora's okay with that part of it because he wants good teams. He knows what comes with the territory. The hard part is when you get blamed and your team sucks. Then there's nothing you can do. Now he's got a pretty good team. So before we get back to the calls, and for example, Nate in a car wants to talk about Devers. I think this is one of the big questions. So let me ask you, Matt. What do you think Devers' state of mind is? Are you at all worried about him making the transition from third base to DH? And I should tell you, by the way, that Cora officially announced Devers as his DH.
I'll be honest, I'm not all that concerned, which probably sounds foolish, Mazz, but I do believe in the Alex Cora factor here. I think once Devers is able to swallow his pride a little bit, he's going to realize that being a DH is better for him. He will stay healthier. He will be more productive. He does want to win. Devers wants to win. He has complained in the past about what the Red Sox have done to the roster, their lack of investment in the roster. If they start winning baseball games, if they get off to a good start, I think it'll blow over. And one of the reasons I think it'll blow over is because what Cora is saying there, he's leaning on his relationship with Devers. This is why you have Alex Cora here. This is why he is one of the highest paid managers in baseball, and I do think it's legit with him. I think Cora commands the respect of guys in that locker room. I think he has good relationships with the players. It's going to take some navigating, and it's taken navigating all spring long. They let him go away and blow off some steam and come back, and they didn't really play him. Probably it was a bit of a protest going on with Devers, and I think they let him do that. They let him get his emotions out, and I think once they start winning some baseball games, it's going to blow over. I do.
So it bears watching. Nate in the car. Nate, what do you got?
Yeah, so, with Devers, I feel like he can be a really great asset if he has the mindset being a DH, but do you think there's going to be a time where he gets complacent with that, he wants to go back to third base, and if he becomes disgruntled on that? And then also want to know how long do you think it is before Roman Anthony and the other prospects come up and really make a big impact? Okay,
so I'll answer the Devers part of that first. The answer with Anthony is I don't know. And I don't know with Meyer either. I think it's going to be a little while. If there's an injury, Anthony could be here sooner, and I would say the same for Meyer. Until that, I think they're not going to be here for a couple of months. Meyer's never played at AAA, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. So with regard to Devers, keep an eye on him at the beginning. Watch the beginning of the year. As Matt said, he didn't play a lot of games. He didn't have a lot of at-bats, and the at-bats that I saw, he didn't look good. He hit a ball off the wall in one of the games that I saw. He didn't go to Mexico, so he hasn't swung a bat against, live pitching in a game for a few days. His timing looked off, and candidly, I worry about him. Harold Reynolds said this during camp, so I'm not alone. I worry about him putting on weight. He came in out of shape. He said he was 240, which means he was really 250 or more, because there's no way he told the truth on that. And, we'll see how it goes. But, yes, I'm worried about it.
The weight thing is my number one concern with Devers. That being said, we're ignoring the team is better because he's not at third base. So I just think that outweighs it. Do I have some concerns about it? Yeah. but they'll be a better baseball team because Alex Bregman will be at third base, turning double plays and fielding ground balls compared to Rafael Devers. Let's not forget that.
He's still got a hit, man.
He does.
Got a hit.
I agree.
Dean in Shrewsbury. Go ahead, Dean.
Carabas is either crazy or crazy like a fox for choosing the Red Sox to win the World Series. The biggest concern I have is the pitching staff, especially the bullpen. Part of the reason they overperformed in the beginning of last season is they were throwing all this off-speed stuff that changed their tendencies in the beginning of the season. And once teams had enough data that they were throwing so much off-speed stuff, they just sat on it, and I don't trust Andrew Bailey to make the adjustment. P.S. I also want a relationship with the Red Sox. I want John Henry singing me to sleep with "Let's Go Red Sox" every night.
Okay, it was. I think Werner was the one who sang it, but I understand the point, Dean. And so, look, part of the reason they pitched the way they did last year, I hope, is because they didn't have the stuff
smoke and mirrors
on the staff to get people out with velocity. So if Garrett Crochet is not throwing that fastball, shame on them. I mean, what the hell did you get him for if you're going to throw cutters and sliders the whole time? And I'm not telling you that he doesn't have a good slider or cutter. He does. But everything with him comes off that fastball.
Yeah, everything with him is hard, though, Tony. I mean, it's a cutter, it's a sinker, it's a fastball. So actually, it's not as much breaking pitches. He varies it up because he has three essentially variations of the hard stuff. The staff's different this year. Buehler has, he throws hard. So yeah, you want to smoke and mirror it with Cutter Crawford, fine. But that's because Cutter Crawford doesn't have Garrett Crochet stuff. I think it's be different this year.
Yeah, so again, if you have velocity, you use it. And I know last year the Red Sox said when you have guys who have plus velocity, elite velocity, those are the guys you let do it. You want to talk about someone whose job could be on the line in 2025? Andrew Bailey's one of them. So I don't buy into all that smoke and mirrors, spinorama bullcrap. It's just enough. You can at some point you got to challenge a hitter. If you're always pitching to avoid the damage, then you're pitching like a wuss. And I don't think you can win pitching like a wuss.
Crochet doesn't pitch that way.
No, he doesn't for sure. Lee in Pittsburgh. Go ahead, Lee.
Mazz, my man, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I want to proceed this real quick. It's about Duran. But what's great now with the interleague play, I get to see the Sox 3 times a year in Pittsburgh, which is great. Every other year when they come down.
Okay.
Where do you see Duran long-term with us?
So, Lee, I'll tell you what, that's a good question, and this is something to consider with a lot of guys on this team. Duran, Sean McAdam wrote last year that Duran was should be a candidate for a long-term deal. I disagree.
Me too.
And when I say I disagree, he's a late bloomer. Isn't Duran 28 now?
He is, yeah, 28.
Okay, Duran's 28 years old. He established himself really as a bona fide everyday major leaguer. Let's call it in his age 26 season, though he missed some time that year. Last year, he was a force, clearly, offensively. So the point is, I think they've got him for 2 more years after this one?
No,
or 3?
4 more years, man.
4 more.
They have a free agent 2029.
Okay.
He's not going to be a free agent until he's 32 years old.
So there's no reason to sign him to a long-term deal.
Agreed.
And when his time is up at age 32, if I got that right, or 30, somewhere in there, they're just going to let him walk.
They should.
So now I think there is a chance that before then they use Duran as trade bait. I might be wrong. If you ask me who the more explosive offensive player is, Duran or Abreu, it's Duran. So my question, though, would then become, can Duran play right field at Fenway Park? Because I think Roman Anthony's going to end up in left. Could be that Anthony ends up as a DH, but they got Rafael Devers there. Whatever, you get the idea. There's going to be enough wiggle room there for someone to go. Duran or Abreu.
Yep, and I wonder if it's a year from now, if it's Duran. You keep Abreu for this year while you bring up Roman Anthony. We talked about this a little bit earlier on, Mazz. One of those outfielders needs to go. Because the advantage of having Rafaela is he's a center fielder. You could put him at right field at Fenway Park, but he's better off in center field. So are we putting Anthony there when he's probably a left fielder and Duran's not a right fielder? Doesn't really fit, but that's a question for another day. My bigger question about Duran is whether or not he has the season he had last year. That feels like a lot to ask for a guy who I think probably overperformed his real abilities just a little bit. I'm worried about a step back for Duran this year.
So look, it's a reasonable thing when a guy has a year like that, rather. But I would also tell you that, I don't think Duran is a center fielder. I know they've talked about him as a center fielder. I think you can do better than that.
Yes, he's a left fielder.
Jay's in Natick. Go ahead, Jay.
Hey guys, first off, glad your show's back, Mazz. I love this show. I
Appreciate
can't wait
that.
for baseball season because of your show. So I love the show. At the end of the day, Crochet, if they back up a dump truck full of money, he's going to sign it. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the season, so I don't know why people get their knickers in or not. But at the end of the day, let's see him do it for a year before you offer him that big bag of money, because he's never done it before. And after that, they have plenty of stuff, I think, in the minors that when it comes to mid-season, they can bolster their bullpen with trade stuff from down in the minors. And after that, the only thing that worries me is a lot of people were picking Toronto when they bolstered their bullpen and their pitching staff.
Yeah.
Said, they're going to win. They're going to win. They're going to win. And they never did.
Yeah,
so
Jay,
everybody jumping on the Red Sox is kind of scaring me.
Okay, so
have a good one, guys.
Yeah, look, everybody's jumping on the Red Sox because they had a notable offseason, and a lot of people did. And you're right to worry about Crochet. I disagree with you, though, on wait and see what kind of year he has. The price goes up. So here's my problem with the way they're treating the Garrett Crochet contract talks. And I agree, if they go to him with a pile of money, he'll take it in midseason. He won't say no, but they got to give him a legit pile of money. If they're trying to get him for $80 million for 5 years, or some sort of Brian Bayo deal, I'll tell you what, even 5 years and $100 million, not enough. No, they got to give him like a Max Fried type of contract at a minimum. I'm talking 7 years, $220 million or more. In fact, if I were him, I'd be aiming even higher. So here's my point on Crochet. They gave up 2 players that they drafted in the first round. They gave up 2 others. So they gave up 4 players total for the guy who's 25. They believe in him because they wouldn't have given all of that up to get him. So why are they now dinking around on the contract?
Because they don't want to pay it.
But if you're going to trade for the guy, you might as well go whole hog and pay him. So the Red Sox went through this, and again, they've done it with multiple guys. But when they traded for Josh Beckett, they then signed him to an extension, and it was in the middle of a season, but they signed him. With Pedro, they signed him right away. What are you dinking around for? If you thought enough of them to give up 2 guys who were drafted in the first round and 2 other prospects, you're going to let them go in 2 years because you're not going to give them the contract?
They might, Mazz. They might. And
that's asinine.
I'm totally with you on it. I'm still glad they made the deal. Even though, because I think ownership doesn't want to pay starting pitchers. They don't want to get involved in that market. To me, 2 years of Garrett Crochet is greater than 6 years of Kyle Teal at this point, because this team has to win baseball games. If I had any faith that they would give Garrett Crochet the Max Fried contract next offseason, I'd say, yeah, wait and see. Prove it this year. Prove you can pitch, and then we'll pay you next offseason. I'd be on board with that. I don't think they want to do it. I'm fully prepared for the fact that you only have 2 years of Garrett Crochet, or a year and a half, and you sell him at the deadline next year. Like, get ready for it. That's what's going to happen.
Jimmy, you just want me to go to 55? Or are you just going to whisper that in my ear?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So we'll finish up here in a couple of seconds. We'll squeeze in a couple of more calls. Be quick. Mike in Norwell. Mike, what do you got?
Hey, Mazz. Glad your show's back, brother. Hey, if Duran has another season like he did last year, would he be compared to a superstar like Devers? Like, would they be compared at all? Thanks.
To me, the thing that makes guys like Devers different is the home run power. So now Duran's a different kind of player. He's got extra base power, and he runs like the wind. The guy can fly. So, look, he was the MVP of the All-Star game last year. I think he sort of entered this territory. He's a different kind of player than Devers, so I don't know that I would ever put them in the same sentence in terms of comparison. In a lot of ways, Duran is he's got a wider skill set. He runs, he can, he plays some defense. Devers is now just a DH, and he better give you 35 and 110. John's in East Providence. Go ahead, John, quickly.
Hey, guys. Is there a scenario where Marcelo Meyer rakes in AAA, Trevor Story struggles out the gate, and Meyer could take over at shortstop? Or is that only happening if Trevor Story, if and when he gets hurt? Thanks.
Yep. The answer is yes. You think that scenario exists?
I hope it exists, Mazz. I'm not convinced. They love them some Trevor Story. They have treated him like he's one of the leaders of this team. I said it last year. Like, I'm fine with Trevor Story coming back so long as you treat him like the player that he is, which is a glove-first player who can hit some lefties but can't do anything else. He is a platoon player. He's a role player. They treat him like an all-star. They won't do that to him. They won't. I hope they do, because Trevor Story isn't what they think he is or what they make him out to be. I would be shocked, stunned, if Trevor Story loses his job this year and it doesn't have anything to do with an injury.
So I'll tell you what, Matt, I wouldn't be stunned. I
hope you're right.
I think the kid's already starting to breathe on him. That's what I think. Good. And look, and Story is going to be a disappointment because he can't hit for average.
Nope.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope he plays well. I don't root for anybody necessarily to fail. I mean, sometimes I do. I don't know if I would say that with 100% honesty. But based on how Meyer looked in camp, he can play. Boy, can he play. He is one smooth mother.
These things generally work themselves out. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Listen, thank you for helping out tonight.
I'll see you Friday, Mazz.
We'll be with you tomorrow at 6. In fact, we might be able to do a post-game show tomorrow. Jimmy, you want to play that montage again on the way out? Again, Jimmy Stewart's off-season review of the Red Sox doings during this past winter, and we'll be back with you tomorrow on opening day.
At one point,